thank you, and particularly, Sam, for getting me up here, because I really didn't think I was of the entrepreneurial spirit. And then when I put this talk together, I'm like, oh yeah, no, I am one. This is good, this is good. So I'm just gonna go through, and as I go through the slides, there'll be tips. And so the first tip is find your strength. So in high school, I knew I was good in math, and I knew I was good in science, but I knew I wanted to be something. I didn't know what. So I went to the counselor, I said, what should I be? And she said, be an engineer. And I said, what is an engineer? And what do they do? And no one could give me a good enough definition of what an engineer was. So I went ahead, I leaped forward and did that out of faith. But in the meantime, I think I got a nudge in my love for energy from my father. I watched over his shoulder as he designed like the better house with buffer zones and passive gain. And I was like, oh, this is exciting. And he got to fulfill one of his dreams in designing and building the first passive solar geothermal warehouse in Westchester County, Fireglow, house of a distribution center. And I got to take my physics class in '78 on tour. And he did. He got underground radiator that would bring in tempered air, so it brought in, warmer air in the winter and cooler air in the summer, and it had passive, and it now has photovoltaics on it as well. So that's when the bug got in me to be interested in energy. And I applied and got into Cornell mechanical engineering, and I had the privilege at the end of its senior year to work on a project that was fun. It was a challenge. Create a wind turbine that you could mount to the, and this isn't the exact diagram for those of you who can in the know, but create a wind turbine that can mount on the end of a dock on one of the Finger Lakes that can churn the water enough to keep the ice from freezing and thus save the dock through their long winters. And so that was an exciting to actually build a wind turbine to do that. But come '82, try and find a job in solar, not so much. So the next best thing was heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, HVAC, which is really good because it deals with energy and with people. I did not want to sit in a lab as a mechanical engineer. So you're making people safe, you're making people comfortable, it's all a good thing. And I took a job down in New York City, JB&B, and a statistic that I just found out that only 6.7% of women graduate in the STEM fields, even now. And so we need more of you all. It's a nice blue ocean, and even then it was a blue ocean, and I was the first female engineer this company had hired. And I took my job very seriously, and they said there was a dress code. I was like, okay, tie and jacket is what they had said to the men. So I came into work, tie and jacket. It was a feminine tie, but it was still a tie. And this office was the down basement of a Park Avenue building, and it was just a field of drafting tables. In that day and age, that was what it was. And I was next to really good designers, really good guys. And over time, there was a little coming of the ways, a detente, as it were. I loosened the tie, in fact, took it off, and they took down the Playboy pinups that were on the. So it was a good. However, this is a follow your passion, right? My passion was not going to be to live and work in New York City. That was just not for me. So I did it. I proved I could, and then I moved to Boston, where I found my husband. So that was the next passion. That was a good thing. And speaking of passion, our two energies together were quite something, because he too, in high school, built first solar hot water collector. He too went to Cornell Mechanical Engineering. He too got into the HVAC field. And so when we met, I feel like that was the kind of energy that helped to create the company. But I followed some more passions first. And that was, I think, inspired by my mom, because I was pretty much of a feminist, right? So Jeff's laundry was there, and my laundry was there, and you do your laundry, I'll do mine. I'm not going to fall for any of this typical stuff. And until I held that first baby, my daughter Sarah's older sister, and I held that baby, and I'm like, so if I do your laundry, can I stay home? And it was amazing. So, however, whether you work full-time, whether you work, especially if you work at something that's not yet your passion, carve out time for other. Make sure you always find that other time, because even staying home, it was a joy to be home for about 10 years. I was able to do full-time volunteering, all that good stuff. I still needed the other. And so, and you'll see a common theme in all of this. I started up a PTA program that I took around to schools, singing, slideshow, interaction with kids, and that picture is of me singing a Tom Pease recycle song, and kids, holding up. And so that was good. Didn't make any money, but it was a good venture, and I would say that was the start of my entrepreneurial spirit. Then towards the end of that tenure, I started a nonprofit called Earth. Environmental arts and theater, for the sole purpose of putting on this wonderful musical called To Save the Planet. And Sarah, my daughter's smiling because she was in it. It is an amazing musical. And so we took it on the road, took it around to different schools. Good time. And then I think Jeff thought I was having too much fun, which could well be. He came home one day and said, you know what, I'm tired of designing award-winning energy-saving buildings, which is what HVAC, if you're good at, does. I want to design energy-producing buildings. So he said, that's it. We're gonna go ahead and try to start up a company in renewables. And so we named it Global Resource Options, because we had no idea whether we were able to succeed. And so I was known as the light bulb lady. I would sell light bulbs. We did everything we could for the first 2 years, and then we were able, by year 2, beginning of year 3, be 100% renewables. And so my message here is to stay flexible and a little naive, because who knew that over the course of 12 years we would, having started in our back bedroom, we would have 150 employees in offices nationwide doing residential solar and commercial solar and distribution. And it was never dull. Every year, I just like, could we have the same year as last year? Couldn't we just? And no. So. And Grow Solar still exists today. It is commercial only, and it just got bought out last year by a French company, so still doing good work. I stepped away in 2010 when the residential division got sold, and I took a deep breath, I got off the roller coaster ride, and said, what next? And for me, I had to take a break, and I actually wrote a book, which had nothing to do with energy, but it broke even. It was a good venture. It had to come out of me, and it did. And then I said, okay, it's got to be energy. And that's when I started up Wolfe Energy. And as Sam said, the rest is history. We did have a ribbon cutting with Governor Shumlin this is a 110 kilowatt array in Stratford, the town, my hometown. And I'm just really pleased because it provides net metering credits to the town, the school, the library, the church, and one of the community buildings. And it just feels good. And the landowner said, you know why I'm doing this at gruff old Vermonter? I'm doing this so the kids can see where their power comes from. I'm like, yes, it's in his front yard. I mean, it's just really, all right, so that was exciting. And then the whole time, I was both at Grow Solar and working in Wolfe Energy. I was also volunteering on the Energy Committee and others. And the selectmen, so Stratford is known for the Elizabeth Mine, right? And it's now a Superfund site. And the selectmen came up to me and said, we need to cover those tailing piles with solar. And it wasn't easy. It was maybe a 7-year process, but yes, thrilled to say that this summer it's being built now as we speak, and by September 1st it should be online. So good culmination to a lot of work. So lifestyle choice. I'm an entrepreneur, but I don't have employees. I have had employees. I do not now. And it is a choice I am making. I really appreciate being able to set my schedule, to volunteer, to live sustainably. We have had in times sheep out front where the employees, when we were out of our bedroom, not our bedroom, but an office in our house, we'd like, oh, sheep are out, everybody, let's go down and get them in. And it's nice to have diversity. And I think my business in particular, Wolfe Energy, which is very local and centric, is successful because I'm a known entity in the community. I'm not here to come, rape and pillage. I'm here to really bring good things to our community. And I'm excited to say that when we get done with the Elizabeth Mine, which goes between Thetford and Stratford, and all the work Grow Solar has done on roofs and all the work that solarized projects have had, we can pretty much say that we are meeting that 90% renewables. We have to work on transportation still, big time there. So there's my tidbits for you, future entrepreneurs. Thank you.